It's a familiar pattern, isn't it now, with Meghan Markle, drop a bombshell and then refuse to speak about it, the sort of thing I mean. And this is now just a reoccurring theme on a simple, regular basis. Well, of course, I'm going to tell you. Yes, as ever. Let me explain. Morning, lovely to see you. Thank you so much as ever for joining me, chums. Nice to have your company here on this beautiful array of gorgeous summer flowers. I do think the florists and people like that, who do these things, this is obviously a lovely traditional public house, but they don't get enough credit, They look great, don't they? Put a lot of effort in, and I think they draw people in simply because it looks nice, looks very traditional. Glad you enjoy the flowers as much as I do filming them for you. Truly, it is a pleasure. And I know I've often said this, but I can't grow anything. So anybody who can do anything like that, you've got my full admiration. I'm one of these that could buy a ready-made hanging basket and within a week it looks dead, and you think, what happened? I've watered it, Some people are just green-fingered, aren't they? You know what I'm saying? Let's get back, of course, to your royal story of the day. Have we had a wave? I'm not sure. We'll have a quick wave. Now, let's have a look at this particular story because I just think, again, odd this in itself. If you remember, this time last week, Meghan Markle sat down with a woman called Emma Grady, I'm not quite sure how you pronounce her. And many people are a bit divided about how that particular interview came out. Many people suggest it wasn't as good as they thought. Others felt that Emma actually sort of did the dirty on her. I don't know about you, I just thought Emma was trying to get to some kind of story that wasn't actually there. I mean, the problem was, and I've been in this situation myself, where you sit down with somebody who you've got to interview them about their album. They haven't written a song, they haven't produced it, they know nothing about it. But somehow you've got to fill 10 minutes, so you just talk about everything other than that. Now, here's where I think this is where it's strange for Emma, you see, because the big bombshell that came out of that interview was the fact that Meghan once again dropped this bomb mot about Archie. Yes, Prince Archie. And the idea really was that we were going to be stunned, shocked, amazed, etc., because suddenly Archie has green fingers alongside, of course, her daughter, Princess Lily. So much so that they go down to the local market in Montecito and they learn veggies, but they don't just sell veggies. Oh, no, it has to be more than that. They were learning the art of arithmetic and sales and balancing and, table to sort of grow to table, that sort of stuff. She made it sound incredibly exciting. And then, of course, what emerged, and I told you this, was that contacting the farmers market, well, you do need a license. There's no record of any of these children ever going down there. And given her sort of supreme level of wanting privacy, there was no note, of course, of the now very famous security team around Meghan. You get the picture. So, of course, step forward this week, and she's now back in the media, this time, I believe, with In Style magazine. The magazines, no disrespect to them, but they are plummeting in the level of where, they can place these stories now. When you think about it, you had Vanity Fair, Vogue, Harper's, Elle. Suddenly, you're at the tabloid level. Nothing wrong with that. As I said, we all love a good gossip magazine. But when you consider where you'd really like to place your brand, your product, it's way down the Richter scale. Now, according to that source, and as ever, I have to say allegedly, when Meghan, of course, was offering the bon mots, they wanted to literally get a little bit more background and more detail because they felt that that story about Archie and the farmers market and selling the veggies would really appeal to their audience. And I would totally agree with that particular magazine. It has an R factor about it, right? Well, it did, but then Meghan decided that no, there was going to be no more conversation about that because she'd spoken out of turn. She shouldn't have really brought that up, again, allegedly. Now, one might suspect, of course, that behind the scenes, and as ever, this is my opinion, perhaps what they thought was a good throwaway story, true or not, has really suddenly backfired. And this is where Meghan really loses out in the world of media and marketing and publicity. Clueless to the max, right? No idea about how to present herself. So thinks by telling you a major bombshell, this will be enough. But people fast check up now in this digital world. Wherever you turn, you can find facts, figures, you name it, it's there. So for Meghan to think that she can just drop these bombshells, well, no. And suddenly now, that will be another question that's off the list for the next podcaster whenever she decides to sit down with them. At this rate, once she's said her name, there's not going to be much left to talk about, is there? Anybody else agree? Neil Sean in the very heart of London.